Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, June 2nd, 2025, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Parsons?
Here.
Councilor Kohler?
Here.
Councilor Cross?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Starr? Here. Councilor Christopher? Here. Councilor Duran?
Here.
Thank you very much. If you are able to rise, I ask you to do so and all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. We're going to begin our evening with, under special orders of business, our proclamation for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer Pride Month. And to do a presentation this month, we have Marcy Wilkin. So you will come on up. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, council members. I want to thank the Diversity Engagement Committee for inviting me tonight. So, as we begin Pride Month, waving a flag or posting a hashtag isn't enough. We must see those pushed to the margins, not just the loudest voices or the most palatable stories. Pride was born from protest, led by Black and brown trans women demanding to be heard when no one else would listen. Forget that, and we forget our roots. Ignore those still being silenced, trans youth, queer people of color, disabled members of our community, and we are not celebrating Pride. We are playing dress up. Let's take a moment to honor the origin, the spark that lit the flame of Pride, a spark not born in celebration, but in resistance, the Stonewall Uprising. In the 1960s, being openly LGBTQ+ meant living in the shadows. We faced relentless harassment, violence, and erasure. Simply dancing with someone of the same gender, wearing wrong clothes, or entering a gay bar could mean arrest, outing, and ruin. The Stonewall Inn, a mafia-run gay bar in New York City, wasn't glamorous or legal, but it was ours. A sanctuary for gay men, lesbians, and trans folks, drag queens, and queer youth. Then came June 28, 1969. Another police raid, but this time we fought back. Instead of running, the crowd stood its ground. Bricks flew, voices rose, a beat-down community stood tall. The uprising lasted 6 days, raw, fierce, and led by those history often erases. Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, Storm De Rivera, trans women of color, butch lesbians, street kids, people with nothing left but their dignity, and they chose to fight. Stonewall wasn't the beginning, but it was a turning point. It birthed the Gay Liberation Front and the first Pride March 1 year later. Behind me stands the Progressive Pride flag. It is more than just a symbol. It's a statement of visibility, inclusion, and evolution. The original 6-color rainbow flag includes red for life, orange for healing, yellow for sunlight, green for nature, blue for serenity, and violet for spirit. But the Progressive Pride flag builds on that foundation, acknowledging those whose voices have too often been left out of the conversation. The added chevrons include black and brown stripes to represent marginalized LGBTQ+ communities of color, as well as those lost to the HIV/AIDS crisis. The light blue, pink, and white stripes are taken from the transgender pride flag, representing the trans community and the right to live and thrive as one's authentic self. The arrow shape points forward, a reminder that progress is ongoing. The flag tells a deeper truth. Pride isn't just about celebration. It's about inclusion, struggles, resilience, and the unwavering demand to be seen. Yet pride is more than visibility. It is about resistance. In the last year, over 850 anti-LGBTQ+ bills have been introduced, targeting trans youth, banning gender-affirming care, dismantling reproductive rights, shuttering LGBTQ+ centers, and discharging trans people from the military service, not for lack of ability, but because of some so-called moral authority deemed them unacceptable. This is not protection, it is persecution. It is fear-mongering, it is gaslighting. It's a manufactured outrage for political gain. All these attacks come from the same place, fear. Fear of a free and inclusive society. These policies share one goal: to enforce a narrow, punitive vision of gender, morality, and segregation through state power. Let me be clear, you cannot erase trans women without erasing women. You cannot restrict abortion without harming queer people who need care. You cannot censor classrooms without silencing kids searching for themselves. You cannot ban books simply because they challenge your narrow moral framework. You cannot legislate our bodies without putting your own in change. The oppression is real. The struggles are connected, and so is our strength. Pride means standing up for women, for trans, non-binary people, for queer youth, for communities of color, for speaking the truth. It means saying, I will not settle. I will not be silent. I will not go back. As a queer, white, trans woman, I lived with both boundaries and privilege. I've been pushed to the margins, told I was too much, not enough, not the right kind of woman. I banged my head against that glass ceiling. I know the sting of exclusion, but I've also been protected by a system that sees my whiteness before my queerness. That is privilege, and I don't deny it. I use it. That's why I won't settle. That's why I speak. I speak because I can, and I speak because others still can't. I won't settle for performative allyship or progress that leaves people behind. I won't settle for comfort over courage or silence over truth. I won't settle for a participation award in life. I won't settle for anything less than living as myself. The fight for queer rights, racial justice, for gender equality is one fight. Together, we are more than their fears. We are a community. We are a movement, and we are not going back. We will not be returned to the closet. We will not be made second-class citizens. We will fight for equity, equality, and justice. We will celebrate pride in all its colors, and we will not settle. Let us remember, the first Pride was a riot, not parades and rainbows, but rebellion. It began as a fight to exist, to love, to be seen, and that is far from over. The struggle continues for trans rights, for racial justice, and the safety and dignity of every member of our queer family. Because pride is not about letters. Pride is about people. Pride is about community, courage, compassion. Pride is about standing up together and refusing to be erased. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is now my privilege to be able to read this proclamation and to present a copy to you, and one will be posted here at City Hall. Sorry. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas our nation was founded on the principle of equal rights for all people and continues to strive for this ideal, and whereas the historical riot at Stonewall in New York City on June 28, 1969, is considered a turning point for LGBTQ liberation in the United States, and whereas for more than 50 years, June has been celebrated nationwide as Pride Month in honor of the citizens who rose up and fought at Stonewall against discriminatory laws, and whereas everyone should be able to live without fear of prejudice, discrimination, violence, or aggression, including actions based on race, ethnicity, religion, class, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, mental or physical disability. And whereas June has become a nationally recognized month to celebrate and honor community members who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, queer, inquiring, asexual, two-spirit plus. And whereas the city of Keizer strives to treat all people with dignity and respect, and recognizes that our diverse LGBTQIA2+ community includes people of all races, ethnicities, religions, and professions who all deserve to live in peace. Now, therefore, the Keizer City Council, assembled here in regular session, does hereby proclaim June 2025 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month, and encourage all the people of Keizer to celebrate and embrace the rich diversity that our LGBTQIA2+ community members bring to our economy, arts, culture, and society. So I will make the presentation to you. Thank you. Can you all come up together? Would you be okay with that? Come on up. And you want to put that flag behind so we see the photo? Well, let's go with Okay, we have a lot of space up here. Let's make that happen. Dan, does that work?
Hit the chair just right in front of the gentleman. Okay. See somebody just barely behind you there. All right. Trying to keep me out of trouble, are you? Okay, everybody ready? Mark? Set. I'll forget that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you. Thank you. All right, one more round of applause for Marcy and our community members. Right. Well, now it is a pleasure to recognize and yet sad to say goodbye and thank you to our youth counselor for this year, Malaya Ladi Farrar. So we have for you a card and our certificate of recognition, and you also get to take your nameplate with you, which you can display proudly in your dorm room or wherever you're heading for college. So I would like to invite you up to talk to us a little bit about your experience, and then we would like to be able to thank you for your service this year.
Well, hello everybody. Feels weird being on this side again. It feels like my interview. My experience here has honestly been very enjoyable, and I didn't really know what I was getting into when I first interviewed for it. Miss Reed didn't really tell me much, and I didn't gather a lot from the website, but I really enjoyed coming here every meeting and just learning about the type of problems that a community has. And it really made me interested in making sure to set my roots down when I'm older in a place that strives to really hear input from the community like we all took in from our meetings here, as I think it was really important to learn about this one community member who has flooding in her backyard because of beavers, or this still has flooding in her backyard because of beavers, or knowing if we need to reserve water. Things like that I think is really important for our community to know and be informed about, and I think we do an excellent job at making sure that everyone knows what's going on, when it's happening, and giving everyone a chance to fairly speak and come out and put their input into what they would like to see back as community members. So I think my experience here was that community can be found, and I like a place where it's a little bit more community rather than big city all the time.
Well, thank you so much for volunteering to do this, even with what information that you got. And I think every student's experience partly is what you put into it, and you put in a great deal of effort. So I'd like to give all of our city councilors an opportunity to comment, and I'll start with, if it's okay with Councilor Parsons.
Well, I didn't get to know you very well, but I did watch you a lot, and I really think that you did an excellent job in representing McNary. We're proud of our students in McNary, and we're proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Kohler.
Well, I got to sit next to you for quite a while, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that you had the ability to come up with all kinds of things, even though sometimes Councilor Reed took some of your thunder. You always come up with additional things. But I appreciate that you were here and you were engaged and you're wanting to be involved in things. So that means a lot. And if we can get more students to be involved, it would just help our city grow and be better. So thank you. I tip my cap.
Councilor Cross.
Thank you so much for volunteering and taking a chance and getting into something that maybe you didn't know what was all about. I love that you did that. I loved your big smile when you were here. I loved seeing what colored nails you had. So you are a shining light for our community, and you're going to do great things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Malaya, oh, the places you will go. So proud of you and so grateful for all that you gave, not just to us on the council who got to learn from you as well, but also what you gave to the students at McNary by representing them and sharing their achievements and all that was going on at McNary. So I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and I have all the confidence in the world that you are going to do out of this world things, and you have to promise us that you will come back and let us know what you're up to.
Don't worry, I will. Thank you so
We're-
much.
we will hold you to that. Thank you.
Councilor Christopher.
So I didn't get a chance to work with you as long as the rest have as well, but I would like to know, what are your plans now?
Well, I'm doing the 2 years free at Chemeketa because I got Chemeketa scholars, and I don't know what college I'm gonna go to after that yet, but the plan is to go finish my bachelor's and then go off to law school.
That's right.
Because I want to work with children, especially children of color, who sometimes I believe that really just do things because they're kids rather than being cruel people. And I think it's important that sometimes our system sheds a little bit more light into the fact that sometimes these children just make mistakes like children do.
See how smart you are? You make us look so good. So you'll do great. I know you will. You were just excellent on city council, and you've already got your plans made. So smart to take Chemeketa for 2 years. I just wish you the very best of luck. And we would love, if you can't come visit, just drop us a line or an email or a text and say, I'm still good, I'm still doing great things.
Don't worry, I will. Thank
Okay,
you so
thanks.
much.
Thank you. Councilor Duran.
I also agree that having you here was great. You know, you gave us the information from the school, from your perspective at school, and allowed us to understand what you guys were doing. And I really hope that the students that are still in school next year will see what you have done and will continue that. So, you know, you're going to do great things. Jumping in on something that you didn't quite understand and getting this experience, I imagine will lead to more in your future, just being able to take that chance. So I appreciate you being here and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Brown.
Well, first of all, congratulations, since you're about to graduate, and it's been fun also running into you at the choir concerts throughout the year, and then also being able to sit next to you here, and yeah, you'll do great, and I'm excited for you, your future.
Thank you so much. I'll probably see you tomorrow at the final concert.
Yep, I'll be there.
other staff members? What I like to do is, also, I got to see you in Little Mermaid.
Yes.
Very involved in so many things at the high school, on top of your studies, on top of being youth counselor. And I also echo what everybody says. We're looking forward to what you will do, and hopefully this experience will help inform your future as well. So what I'd like to do now is present you with your certificate and your nameplate that you could take with you. Malaya Ladi Farrar, everyone.
Do you want us to come down?
Or do you want us to squeeze in?
Why don't you get together there and
Okay.
then, will that work, Dan?
Will that work if we stayed up here for the squeeze? Yes. Helps me.
I'm gonna back kick him in the shin.
Hurry up, Dan. Today would be appropriate. Oh, she gave that face. Very good.
There you go. Thank you. Youth Counselor Ladi Farrar.
Let's check in with that.
Okay, did remember my glasses. Well, that does conclude our special orders of business this evening, and we will now go to our committee reports. We have several folks here who are going to be giving reports, so we'll start off with Rob Witters giving the Planning Commission report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. My name is Rob Witters. I'm Keizer resident, member of the Planning Commission. Wanted to give you a summary of our last meeting, which was held May 21st. And during the meeting, we had two, I guess, official items on the agenda, and both had to do with edits to the Keizer Code, specifically Appendix A. The first one was Amendment Code 2025-06, which updated Development Code 2.110, and the other one was Amendment Case 2025-05. The first one, 2025-06, had to do with allowing as conditional uses gas stations and drive-through retail or facilities in Area B of Keizer Station, which would be the area, I guess it's the northwest corner of Keizer Station that sits vacant over, it abuts up Shamawa and McLeod. And so there was a request that the code be changed to allow, like I said, drive-through establishments and a gas station there. And it is as a conditional use. So it's not allowed use outright, but I assume that there's going to be a future plan for something. There was some people that came to the meeting. There was actually 12 people in the audience, which is a good thing for the Planning Commission. And there was 3 letters that were received pro the change, and then 1 letter that was received that was against the change. And there was a few people that spoke both for and against. I would mention that the Greater Gubser neighborhood came out against the change. But a few people specifically related to the development itself actually came requesting that we go ahead and make the change. So in the end, the Planning Commission did vote to recommend approving the change. It going back to the original plan, it seemed to fall in line with what was originally intended for that area. So we felt that it wasn't too far off. Plus, there was a concern about traffic going in and out of McLeod. But the way it seems to be set up, the only way to get onto McLeod from that specific area would be a right turn, so you couldn't actually get to Shamawa, so it would eliminate traffic, trying to get in and out onto the major road. So that was one of the bigger concerns, but it seemed like the development had that in mind. Keeping that road would still remain local at least. That's the hope. And then the other 2025-5 had to do with reducing the minimum parking within some of the zoning codes. And this, unfortunately, this was really the state mandated changes that came down, I think it was during the last administration, but had not been instilled or put into effect yet. In fact, I think we're coming up against a deadline on trying to get those into the code. So anyways, so this seemed to be, it was either the way I understood it, it was either we could vote to recommend it, or Keizer would end up being not in compliance with some of the state mandates, and therefore there could be some repercussions for that. And so we, as a body, ended up voting for it unanimously to recommend that we go ahead and make that change in the code.
Yeah.
So it was, didn't seem like we had much choice in the matter. So, and I think that's all I have. So.
Okay. So just for folks who are listening, on the parking minimums, is saying that we can't require it, but we are not going to not allow businesses and residences to build them. It's just saying that we can't require those minimums. Is that correct?
That is correct. And as I understand, that hasn't been an issue so far. Every request for plan or permit that's come in has included parking.
Okay.
So.
I'm looking at Mr. Witham, that's pretty much the situation?
Yeah, I think Rob did a great job, but that's exactly right. The state said we can't mandate minimum parking requirements anymore. I extended our deadline as long as they would grant extensions, and now we're up against the end of that time frame.
Yeah, we did push that. Was that related to the CFEC, Climate Friendly Equitable Communities
Yeah, I mean, I think
rules?
technically we were supposed to have done this by 2023. So I got us a couple of years, tried for a little bit longer, and unfortunately didn't get beyond the end of June of 2025. So we might technically be out of compliance for just a little short time, but yeah.
Well, we did take it to the Supreme Court.
Yep.
So, and lost. Counselor Christopher?
So what are the repercussions for non-compliance? I'm not advocating for that. I just want to know. Is it?
Well, I have been, I heard that. I've been assured that there isn't really a planner jail, but, no, I mean, I think the reality is that we would be in violation of the administrative rules, the rules that are in place.
Are there fines?
I'm not a lawyer, so I won't speak to that. I think probably the bigger issue, but I'll let Mr. Lindsay chime in. I think the bigger issue would be is if we held a developer or a private property owner to a set of rules that were unlawful,
Yeah.
we could be in some real big area of hurt when it came to the possibility of,
Is it the rules that are
Litigation.
unlawful or the mandating of following the rules that have been established? It's the mandating.
If I may,
Mr. Lindsay?
and this, we'll have an explanation, again, next time if you want it as well, because I believe this will be coming before you guys on June 16th. And so be prepared, I guess, to hear this stuff again, and we can explain it in even more detail. But the crux of it is, if you have your own local ordinances are out of compliance with state law, then some people could claim, not that they may or may not prevail, but they might be able to say, all of it should be thrown out, and we don't have to follow any of it because it's in conflict with state law. And so we have a decent amount of law in there that says other things than just parking. And so you don't want to throw the baby and the bathwater all out at once. You kind of want to be in compliance so that nobody can say your ordinances are out of compliance with state law, so they should not be followed at all. So that's kind of your first biggest hurdle.
Follow up?
Even though we can't, and we don't mandate, that doesn't mean we can't. Still advise them of what our parking standards are and ask them if those will work.
If they want some parking, then they have to follow our standards, which is kind of cool. So, you know, say they're like, yeah, we're going to build this little shopping center and we have to have some parking. Well, then now you still have to follow our standards. So that's the other reason why we want to
Yeah,
make
that's
sure
good.
that we don't throw out all of it.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good, okay. I feel better about that now.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you so much, Rob, appreciate it. Next up is Catherine Klein for the Arts Commission.
Hey. Student member.
Okay, hello.
Yes,
Can I
we can hear you.
start?
Yep, you're on.
Okay, I'm Catherine Klein. I'm the Youth Liaison on Arts Commission. This is just a report of what we did last meeting on Tuesday, May 20th. So we started off, we had a visitor, Larry Jackson, from the member of the Volunteer Coordinating Committee, and he recognized all our volunteers with certificates and pins. And then for appearance of interested citizens, we had Tammy Saladar, and she came with a summary of our Keizer Street program, where we paint the streets. And it was finished now, so she got it approved from Public Works, and they got approved the final version of it. A little bit more about that is that it takes about 2 days for preparation of the street art painting. And during those 2 days, the road would be closed down. And we still need a waiver. Ooh, hold on. The waiver still needs to be included and could be the same waiver language that the Public Arts Commission uses. City Manager Adam Brown also commented that it would be a city-sponsored event and a city project, so we wouldn't need a permit to do that. And then Ms. Saladar commented that she would like her neighborhood association to be the first one to test it out, kind of. And she lives in Northwest Keizer, near McNary. And then later we approved Gary, okay, hold on, I'm gonna butcher his last name, Halastilia's artwork. Yes, his artwork for the June-July art gallery over here. And then with our budget, we have around a little over $800, and we motioned to set aside that money to touch up the story poles and get them resealed. And if our guy couldn't do that by the end of June, we motioned to use that money on artwork. And yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Councilor Christopher.
So proud of you. You did a great job. You were terrific. And you were a terrific student board member the entire year that you've been with us. And I'm so excited to see you go. So Katie is going to Logan, Utah. And the program that you're going to be in is?
Interior design and architecture.
She's our girl. She's perfect for being on Keizer Public Arts Committee. She always gave a great input. She was always engaged. She's definitely art adjacent. And some of us on that committee are. So I just wanted to say thank you. You did a great job tonight and wish you the very best of luck on your next endeavors.
Thank you.
All right, well done.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for finishing up your term by giving the report and everything, and also the other times you have shown up and been very involved throughout your entire high school career. Congratulations. All right, thank you. Oh, Mr. Brown.
Katie has actually been with us for 3 years as a youth liaison. Yeah. Pretty amazing. I don't know. Well, I don't know the history, but I don't know if anybody served that long as a youth liaison.
Not usually, no. Usually it's a one and
She's in the
done.
record books.
Yeah.
I think we should give you a longevity award.
Thank you so much for serving, and we look forward also to hearing about your career and how things progressed in your studies at Logan, Utah.
Awesome.
And will you be coming to the June meeting?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Batting cleanup, David Dempster, traffic safety bike ped. Yes. Yes, please.
Dave Dempster from the, I always have to look it up, Traffic, Safeway, Bikeways, Pedestrian Committee. I've been on, I live here in North Keizer. I've been on that committee since I moved here around 20 years ago. I can't remember, I think it was about 2005, 6, somewhere in there, when my grandson was born. Anyway, so I've been on the committee a while. Lately, the last 2 or 3 years, most of our time, we added public comments, or we never, it was always there, but we never got many. And now this year, we get anywhere from 3 to 15, 20 people showing up. And I use the word to complain, usually, but in a nice way. We're glad to see it, because then we find out what's going on. So last week, for example, we had 12 people who live on Mambrin came in to complain about high speeds, reckless driving, too much traffic, all hours of the day. So after their presentation, we recommended they fill out the neighborhood traffic management program, which you guys have approved. And that'll start a process. Now, in the past, we kind of shot from the hip all the time. And lately, we're trying to narrow it down so when people come in, we can tell them specifically what steps to go through. A nice process that has some logic to it, which may or may not lead to a solution. But that's what's going to happen. In addition, Officer Powell from the police department is at our meetings, and he volunteered in this case to go sit with some residents, I think it's tomorrow or the next day, with the radar hidden. They're going to sit in the driveway or out of sight, and he's going to talk to them about what speeding really is. And the reason for that, in the past, we've found when you're walking, a car passing you close by at 20 miles an hour seems like it's doing 40. And very often we get complaints, including my wife complaining to me about speeders, where people really are doing even out the speed limit or under. So part of that's education. Now, there are real problems, don't get me wrong. For example, in the last month, we've heard complaints, and usually more than one person, on Verda, Cherry, Brooks, Alder, Wheatland, Park Meadow, Tepper, Lock Haven, Windsor Island Road, and that's this month, and maybe the last 2 months. And these are where you have more than one people. On Verda, we had all but 2 houses sign a petition about speeding. So this is a serious issue. And usually, very often, the police department and public works sets up the traffic counters and speed monitors. And we get some data to find out whether or not what the problem really is, in addition to the complaints. So we finished our work on the traffic management program. And so the process that we're going to encourage people to follow is that first you talk to Officer Powell or the traffic police, because sometimes it's just people are parking too close to a corner, a warning or a ticket, or talking to them solves the problem. It goes on up from there. So that's the first step. The second is the traffic management program. We have the forms. We volunteer to help anybody fill it out. It's the simplest thing for the neighborhood associations to use. It goes very, very smoothly. And then, at any point in time, of course, they can always come and talk to you, right here from this table. And then we also recommend if they are unsatisfied with all of those things, another option they could look at is forming a local improvement district, which means working with Public Works and the city council and coming up with a solution. In all honesty, I have heard more about traffic speed bumps than I ever want to hear. And they're not even recommended. But, so we're giving them, here, take a look at this. Here's a list of 30-some traffic calming devices, things you could do, and they run anywhere from a few $100s to 20,000 in local improvement district. If it was approved and Public Works liked it and you guys liked it, they could spend as much as they like. So 20,000 if they want. We made a recommendation to Public Works. I'm
Go ahead
done.
and finish the report.
Okay, Public Works, to lower all residential speed limits from 25 to 20 miles an hour. This was, well-liked by a lot of the people who we've talked to. The pedestrian flag program you're familiar with is in a trial stage. We're going to be at the Public Works open house with information and bicycle helmets. I'm not sure, I don't recognize, well, I recognize most of you, that you know that we do provide thousands, well, since I've been on it, thousands of bicycle helmets to the residents of Keizer at for free, kind of. We ask for a donation and usually we get it, but a lot of times we give the helmets away if we know that, or somebody recommends, like the school recommends, these kids can't afford it, so we'll go give away 5 or 10 helmets. So we're lousy business people because we're buying the helmets at about $15 to $18 a piece, and we ask for a $5 donation, and it's working. And we'll be involved in the summer school program at, I think, Keizer Elementary with bicycle safety and training and helmets and stuff.
Wonderful.
Okay, one teeny second. Somebody asked me the other day if I'm sure all of you are familiar with the Willamette Valley Scenic Bikeway. It's written up in Travel Oregon. It's a major bicycle thing. If you're not familiar with it, you ought to look it up because it goes right down Windsor Island Road onto Shoreline to Manbrin and goes all down Manbrin from Shoreline to River Road and then over to Cherry. And you take a right and go over to the Auto Group, across the Parkway with Auto Group, do a little jig-jag there, and there's a bike path, and goes all the way to the state capitol. It's thousands of people, they keep telling us thousands of people use it every year. I haven't seen too many.
Yeah. Well, I used to use it when I rode when I worked at the Capitol. That's how I rode to work.
Yeah.
Was down that pathway. There's just one kind of hinky intersection down near Fairgrounds Road that is a bit of a challenge.
There's a jig-jag, yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit scary. But other than that, yeah.
All
So
right,
thank you for
but people
mentioning that.
should know that because we're looking at Manbrin right now, and that's part of the state's scenic bike transportation method. So we might want to keep that in mind.
Thank you, and are there any questions? All right, thank you so much, really appreciate it, and we're really excited about the use of the Neighborhood Traffic Management Program, which is now up and running.
Yes.
Thank you for all the work on that. Anybody else? Okay. Is there anyone else who is here to give a committee report that didn't sign up? Okay, Neighbor Association, anybody here from a Neighbor Association to give their report? Okay. That concludes committee reports. We'll go to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have several public hearings this evening, items 8A through H. I will not read them all off, but if you're here for one of those, stand by. If not, I do not have anybody signed up for general public comment. Is there anyone who would like to address the council this evening? Okay, everybody's here for a purpose. And I do not have any written comment either. So we will then go to our consent calendar. And Council President Starr, would you please read the items on tonight's consent calendar?
Absolutely. Our consent calendar reads as follows. Item A, resolution authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with Green Suns, Inc. for Keizer Rapids Park Import Fill Grading Project. Item B, resolution authorizing city manager to sign a grant agreement for the 2025 Gold Star Memorial. And item C, approval of the May 19th, 2025 regular session minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any polls? Counselor Kohler?
B, please, 7B.
All right. Any other polls? Okay. Council President Starr?
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt consent calendar items A and C.
Second.
The consent calendar items 7A and 7C have been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Counselor Kohler, item 7B.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had a couple questions about that, about what our responsibility is in matching grants, and will some of the work that's already been done count for that or not count for that? I just want to clarify where we are.
We're in a good place right now. We had done some work, but we'll have to submit a work plan for this point going forward. And I believe we'll be fine because we have a significant amount of donations that are coming from Home Depot that will cover some of the costs that were built into the budget. And so our match money, I think, will be just fine with the $84,000 grant from the state and for the fundraising for the actual stone memorial, which is around $60,000, so.
Follow up?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's a proposed donation from Home Depot. That's not in concrete or granite yet, depending on which part of the memorial you're looking for.
Concrete part.
So if that fails and we do not receive that grant from, the great gift from Home Depot, then where are we?
So I think the critical point is where the fundraising is on the memorial part, the $60,000. And no, we were, I think, around $35,000 before the fundraiser that some of your colleagues on the dais put together for last week. And so I don't know where that came out, but that's the portion that we'll have to watch.
One more.
One more.
Oh my gosh, finally, somebody other than me.
Just one more.
You can pay me later. And
Just one more.
so the work that we did on the foundation and all that does not count toward this grant, is that my understanding?
We will, it may or may not. We will talk to Oregon Parks and Recreation Department once this is executed and see if they're willing to. See, there's a couple ways they could do it. They could use it as match, or we could just drop it from the project from both sides of the revenue and the expenditure, since we already did it. So we're not, even if we amended that, we wouldn't be reducing the city's contribution. We're just, it just wouldn't be counted towards the match. And so I don't see a problem with them if we just reduce that from the scope, if we have to.
Good.
Yep.
So just to make sure I'm clear, so by reducing both sides of the equation, if we reduce the scope, then the 60,000 was based on a percentage, or was, okay, thank you. Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Brown, I used to live in the world of state grants as well, and we always had to have a match. And there was always the opportunity for us, before we executed the grant, to have a negotiation with the state about changing the start date. Because sometimes there would be some delay in when the grant agreements were dated and sent out. So is there, what, if any, conversations have been had about, or to negotiate the start date with the Parks Department?
So there's been a couple of conversations, and I think the council we've got is get the grant agreement in place, and then we could talk about amending it if we needed to.
Oh, so they want to do it from an amendment after the execution?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? Council President Starr?
I move that we adopt item 7B, authorizing the city manager to sign a grant agreement for the 2025 Gold Star Memorial.
Second.
Consent calendar, item 7B has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. That concludes tonight's consent calendar. We will now go to public hearings. And, okay, everybody, buckle up, because we got a bunch. So we're going to start off with item 8A. Public hearing is now open for a resolution authorization for supplemental budget, general fund, transient occupancy tax, and resolution authorization for a supplemental budget, administrative services fund, general administration. Mr. Brown, this goes to Mr. Wood.
Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, we have two adjustments tonight. These will impact the 2024-25 budget. The first one is to transfer $2,400 from contingency to materials and services in the general fund transient occupancy tax. This is to provide appropriations for the Keizer Cultural Center's request to create marketing materials. The second is a transfer of $20,000 from contingency to materials and services in the Administrative Services Fund, General Administration, to provide appropriations for property liability insurance claims. As you folks know, we pay a minimum amount for property liability insurance. As claims come in, we pay claims up to a certain point, and then the insurance kicks in. Over the years, this has saved the city significant dollars. So it's a program we definitely want to keep in place. Unfortunately, we had a claim, so this is to make appropriations available. With that, I'd be free to address any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on either of these appropriations? Okay, let's put a motion on the table, please, Council. Oh, thank you. I don't have anybody signed up. Thank you for the, I'm gonna get in the routine here because we're gonna go through a bunch of these. So I don't have anybody signed up to testify under this public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council on this issue tonight? Seeing none, does council need any additional information prior to closing the public hearing? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Thank you, Council President Starr. Now,
I move the Keizer City Council adopt resolution R2025, authorization for supplemental budget, general fund, transient occupancy tax.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt resolution R 2025. Oops, let me get down to that line. Authorization for supplemental budget, general fund, transient occupancy tax. Any discussion? So I've got one question, and that is, so during the budget process, which is a little bit farther down, we have another 8,000 that will be going to the Keizer Heritage for projects. So this is separate and apart from that 8,000, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, just want to make sure we didn't cross any lines there. Anything further? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Next one, Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt resolution R2025, authorization for supplemental budget, administrative services fund, general administration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt resolution R 2025, authorization for a supplemental budget, administrative services fund, general administration. Discussion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. That takes care of item 8A. I will now open a public hearing. Item 8B, an order in the matter of the amendment of medical waste collection rates for franchise solid waste collection within the city of Keizer, effective as of August 1, 2025. City Manager?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This item was brought to you on May 5th for an introduction to the issue. We have enjoyed, we as in Keizer have enjoyed very favorable rates for medical disposal up until the incinerator was closed in the Brooks area of the county. Since that closing of the incinerator, our haulers have had to find other places to dispose of medical waste, and that has significantly increased the cost of disposal. So to cover those costs, the proposal was requested from our haulers who worked together with our rate setting and with the council. And they've proposed a new rates going from, well, we have two categories. We have a low volume and a high volume category. Those are in the staff report. And just without reading the rates specifically, I would just say it is a large increase, I think around 60%. But this is needed to cover the cost. This will affect really our businesses and doctor's offices, and which equally difficult to take as just as a homeowner would. So, but again, we've enjoyed favorable rates for a long time. So today, what is requested is that you open a public hearing for testimony, and then if the council is consents, then approve the order to change the medical waste collection rates. And that's all. We do have members from our haulers here if there's questions.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report or the order? I do not have anybody signed up under this public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council on this issue tonight? Seeing none, council, do you need any additional information prior to closing the public hearing? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt the order in the matter of the amendment of medical waste collection rates for franchise solid waste collection within the city of Keizer, effective as of August 1st, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt the order in the matter of the amendment of medical waste collection rates for franchise solid waste collection within the city of Keizer, effective as of August 1, 2025. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. You're welcome. All right, that will now take us to item 8C, an ordinance relating to water utility, amending Keizer Code, Chapter 42, Article 2. Public hearing is now open. City Manager, goes to Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, the fiscal year 2025-26 City of Keizer Budget Committee approved budget provides for a 1% rate increase. That would be effective January 1st, 2026. The rate increase will provide approximately $15,000 in additional revenue for use in the city's water system, primarily for capital improvements. Because the water rates are included in the Keizer Code, it was also time to review certain sections relating to the water utilities for revision at the same time. The rate increase will impact single-family residents about 19 cents a month, a little bit more if they're large consumers. With that, I would be free to address any questions that you may have at this point.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the ordinance? All right, I have nobody signed up to testify. Is there anyone here who would like to testify on this matter? Seeing none, council, do you need any additional information prior to the closure of the public hearing? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr?
I move that Keizer City Council adopt ordinance number 2025 relating to water utilities and amending Keizer Code Chapter 42, Article 2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt ordinance number 2025 relating to water utility, amending Keizer Code Chapter 42, Article 2. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. That takes us to item 8D, resolution amending the stormwater utility fee, amending resolution R 2014-2504, repealing R 2019-2983. Public hearing is now open. City Manager? Goes to Mr. Wood.
This goes to Mr. Wood again, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be me a lot tonight. I apologize.
It's the Mr. Wood show.
The 25-26 budget provides for a 23 cent per month per equivalent service unit increase in the stormwater utility rate effective January 1st, 2026. It's estimated to provide approximately $32,900 in additional resources for the stormwater fund. This will be invested primarily into capital infrastructure. In addition, the Budget Committee recommended that the stormwater fee be indexed using an applicable consumer price index in future years. That's not necessarily subject to this resolution. However, I'd be free to address any additional questions if you have them.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the resolution or the staff report? So during the budget process, the recommendation from Public Works and from the Stormwater Division was for $1.92. So this is a change from that recommendation down to the third, 23 cents. And are there projects that will be impacted by this change?
There are projects that will be impacted this, and if I could turn the time over to Mr. Lawyer to share that.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Lawyer?
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Definitely will impact projects. In fact, more later tonight, you're going to see a project proposal to approve awarding a contract that includes a borrow of $160,000 from the Transportation Improvement Fund in order to make the project whole and be able to complete the project. With the rate increase that was proposed by staff at the budget hearings, that borrow would not have been needed. And that borrow is going to affect future years because that now has to be paid back, which is going to take money away from future projects until that's paid back.
So I have a follow-up. When it's paid back, is it paid back with interest?
Yes.
So that would also reduce the amount of capital for future projects?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
For at least 2 years. The plan that I put together was to borrow, I think we actually are authorizing $200,000 of borrow and be paid back over 2 years, so $100,000 a year.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Any further questions? All right, I do not have anybody signed up to testify under this public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council tonight during this public hearing? Seeing none, do council members need any more additional information prior to closing the public hearing? Okay, public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2025, amending the stormwater utility fee and amending Resolution R2014-2504 and repealing R2019-2983.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, amending the stormwater utility fee, amending Resolution R 2014-2504, repealing R 2019-2983. Discussion. So I do have one thing I'd like to just put on the record, and that is that in the conversation at Budget Committee, I really appreciated the thoughtfulness about making sure that we have sufficient funds to be able to do important projects. And the big project, while Mr. Lawyer mentioned the pathway, the bigger one that is going to be impacted, as I understand, is the stormwater replacement project in Northwest Keizer area. And that was about 1.5 million. Is that correct, Mr. Lawyer?
That's phase one.
That was for
The
phase.
overall project's probably close to 5 million when it's all said and done. By the time we get there, the initial estimate's about 3, but I expect in the time it takes to design and build this in phases, by the time it's all done, it'll probably be close to 5 million.
So by putting it off, the price goes up?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll have more, and then, you made a comment that I'd like to highlight, and that was that if something happens in the meantime, that there is a risk of failure prior to the replacement. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So the risk is going to be borne by the ratepayers of Keizer, because should it fail prior to replacement, then the contract would have to go operate under an emergency. Or-
Potentially, yes. Worst case scenario, yes.
Okay, so there's going to be a
With a
risk
catastrophic
involved.
failure of that line, and we would have to do something on an emergency basis, yes.
Okay, are there residences or any other facilities that would be at risk prior, because of it running under the houses?
Well, it doesn't go under houses. It just is in it's in the backyards of,
Okay,
I don't know, I haven't counted the number of lots, but all the houses from Windsor Island Road to the west end of the development on Willow Lake Road, which is Bobby Todd, Lacey Court, Springleaf Court,
Willow Leaf Court, all the leaf courts all the way to the west. The potential is for a failure to happen anywhere along in the backyards of those homes, and we really have no way to get to it.
Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by saying no.
No.
No. Motion passes 5-2. The noes are Clark and Parsons. All right, we'll go now to item 8E, which is a resolution amending the City of Keizer Police Services Fee, repealing Resolution R 2023-3376. Public hearing is now open. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, the budget tonight includes a increase in the police services fee of 69 cents per month. I'm going from $6.90 to $7.59 for a single-family residence. This has an effective date of January 1st, 2026. The fee will provide approximately $58,800. During the Budget Committee deliberations, we originally requested a 12.5% fee increase. It got reduced to a 10% fee increase with the offset going to the contingency. And with that, I'd be free to address any questions tonight.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report or the resolution? Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. I think there were 3 of us missing for that second night on the police fee, and everyone here knows that I think these fees are slow death of 1,000 cuts, fees everywhere. Why wouldn't we be able to take, or is there a reason that we wouldn't be able to take that dollar amount from contingency and ARPA funds?
Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, we can't use the ARPA funds because they're already committed. We had to commit them by the end of December 31st, 2025. So basically, however, having said that, we are transferring another $400,000 into the police department. So that's the residual from the ARPA funds that we have.
And this fee wouldn't go into effect until January, is that correct?
That's correct.
So, in my mind, we could be a little bit more thoughtful and transparent with our residents and go to a vote of the people and get some more information from them. Because once we get this fee in place, it doesn't go away, correct?
The City Council does have the authority to change the fee.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor Christopher?
Mr. Wood, this doesn't go into effect until January. And so do we have to take action on this tonight, or is this something that we could wait and take action on in November? That still would give plenty of time to initiate that. We're not going to use the money until January anyway. So is this a vote that could wait?
Madam Mayor, City Council, potentially, yes, it could wait.
Okay.
My only concern would be the amount of time we would have to let, like multifamily places know of the increase. So, we could tell them the potential increase is coming, but with a bi-monthly billing cycle, it gets a challenge to be able to get the information out if we're doing it through the utility bills. We could use that 2 months
Great.
to communicate through social
Okay.
media, that kind of thing, but it
Thank
would be
you.
nice to give them a little more time.
Councilor Duran?
During the budget process, I brought up an idea of adjusting how we bill for the police fee to change commercial to, I felt it wasn't fair that say Target pays the same rate as a house does. So, in the meantime, if we did put this off, could we take some time and come up with a thoughtful way to adjust our fee schedule?
Mr. Brown?
Yes, that is within the realm of possibilities. Could definitely happen.
Because I don't remember how that was left at the Budget Committee. It was talked about, but can we set a, town hall, or I guess it would just be a work session?
Hold on.
So, the answer to that question, as far as the Budget Committee, that is a council decision. So
Right.
by bringing it up here, that this is the appropriate.
Right.
I would agree. Did I open the public hearing, Ms. Bissett?
Yeah, I think we're in it.
Okay, all right, just double checking. I've checked this off. Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Wood, When in November do we typically get our first allotment, if you will, of property tax revenue?
Madam Mayor, City Council, we typically start receiving it weekly in November. So by probably Thursday, Friday of the first week in November.
And so so we're gonna have an idea, right, on those, or I'm asking, will we have an idea of what our property tax revenue is gonna look like, by maybe if we took this up on the second Monday of November? I mean, I just wanna be clear, I want our police services to be fully funded, but I also am recognizing that there might be some room for us to do some work on developing a more sustainable revenue stream. And also, with that in mind, not missing an opportunity for the issue to come back to council to enact the fee if we, maybe the property tax revenues aren't coming in fast enough, so we won't know kind of what our, contingency, are we doing better than we estimated? Are we not doing better? I'm just trying to get an idea of timeframes.
Oh, excellent question. For property taxes, we typically get a notice from the county middle of October, and that tells us what the assessed value was, and we can kind of extrapolate. And every year I get a little excited because we typically have about 15, 20,000 extra dollars, and it's like, what do we do with it? So exciting. But that's the other piece that really is maybe the concern would be franchise fees and the shared revenues. Some of those we get quarterly, so we may not see those till like the end of October. So by the second meeting in November, we'll have pretty much those numbers, at least the first quarter locked down as far as what the trends are looking like.
And just one more question. Just one more question. Would the second meeting in November still give enough time to do, because we could do some pre-communication saying, this is the potential fee increase that's coming. It'll be discussed at the second meeting in November. Would that still be enough time to then enact it on January 1?
Good question. Mechanically, yes. It's an easy process for us unless we make a major change to the structure of the rate. So if we're looking at changing multifamily or changing commercial, that'll take staff, maybe a week or two. It depends on how complex the process becomes. So it could take some time. I'm much more worried about the notice to the multifamilies because they're entering into lease kind of deals, and they typically look for the rate increases to figure out how much they're going to charge.
I can't imagine that we'd be ready to unveil some grand idea by November. But if the issue of the 69-cent fee increase came back to council at that second meeting in November, that would still give you and staff, and it passes because gosh darn it, we want safety, right? Public safety here in Keizer. But that would give you and staff enough time to get that implemented.
That'd be correct, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go to Councilor Cross and I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So you said the ARPA funds are all spoken for, correct? So the contingency fund exists to address unexpected financial needs, such as budget shortfalls. So don't we have that dollar amount in contingency that we could use?
50,000.
The 50,000? Like, our contingency fund in the general fund, we have that dollar amount if we decided to go that route.
In the general fund, we have about 200,000 in contingency.
Right. So it's an option is what I'm saying.
Correct.
I'm just really concerned about strengthening community trust through an advisory vote and making sure that, using those contingency funds gives council the time and flexibility to engage citizens thoughtfully and transparently. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Christopher.
So Mayor, I'd like to put a motion on the table that postpones making this decision regarding increasing the police fee until second week in November, or second meeting in November.
So what I'd like to do though is, since this is a
Oh, it's in
public
a
hearing.
meeting. Sorry, Mayor.
So, yeah, press pause.
Okay.
So I would like to invite people, who would like to address the council on this matter, to be able to come forward now. We don't have anybody signed up. Is there anybody who would like to address the council on this matter for the police fee? Seeing none. Is there any additional information that council needs prior to closing the public hearing? Okay, public hearing is now closed. And, Council President Starr, Councilor Christopher would like to put a motion on the table.
Okay. I would like to postpone making the decision regarding the amending of the City of Keizer Police Services fee, repealing Resolution R 2023-3376 until the second council meeting in November to give us an opportunity to see how close we got to our best guess on budgeting. And being as it's not, well,
Hang on.
that's it.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council, hopefully postpone the decision on the police fee until the second council meeting in November, pending the, well, it's not just property tax.
It's taught and.
Right,
It's all of it.
okay.
Yeah, it's all of it.
Pending, revenue, thank you, that's the word I was looking for, the revenue numbers that we will get by that time.
Perfect.
Is that a fair restatement?
Uh-huh, sure.
Okay. Any further discussion? I appreciate the wanting to make sure that we only charge as much as necessary. I think that the support for our public safety in this community is very strong, and that people in this community prioritize paying for an appropriate level of police services. I believe we also had talked about working with Chief Copeland on the staffing model going forward, and this might be an opportunity through work session to additionally have those conversations so council and the community understands what our public safety dollars are buying. So I would like to at least put that into the discussion that as we're moving forward with the vote on this, that be part of the conversation should it pass. Is there any objection to that notion?
No, but I'd like,
Motion?
Notion.
no, but I'd like to add.
Okay, Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think that's a great idea. I would like to encourage us to think about not just one work session, but maybe several community conversations and listening sessions around this topic, because I think the one thing that we've all heard is that our residents want to feel safe in Keizer, and I think and there's lots of other concerns going on right now, and so I think having more than, I think one work session is great, but I'd like to encourage us to have multiple conversations with our community throughout the year about what this police fee does and what it brings to our community and to our residents, and what it does to support our ability to provide a fully staffed police department. And I want on the record that I will be in favor of this postponement to November, but I am solidly in support of continuing to work towards understanding what a solid revenue and stable revenue stream looks like for our police department. And I am still in support of the 69-cent police fee.
Thank you. I'll go to Councilor Kohler, then Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry. I don't think there's anybody on the council that's not in favor of making sure our police are fully funded and that our residents are fully protected. So I think that by postponing this and taking a good look at it and making sure that that we're being fiscally responsible and trying to put this together in a way that long-term helps our citizens and our police.
Thank you, Counselor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I just, again, want to say, anyone that knows me know I'm a big supporter of Back the Blue and first responders. I would probably say, Mr. Brown, don't go to any conferences before I took money away from them.
That's where we're pulling.
So it's very important that we're fiscally responsible and that we prioritize. They are the number one priority for me, and I think a lot of the residents in the town. I think it's super important that we avoid the increases that we can without voter and citizen input.
Thank you. Anything further? Just for clarification, Mr. Brown, nor the council spends $58,000 a year on going to conferences, so that the numbers are quite different. So it is a different number. So I just want to be clear on that.
Thank you,
Cross.
Madam Mayor. And I'm talking about more small bites of the apple. I believe one was 5,000 in the budget and one was 7,000. So that's 12,000, which would be about 25% of that fee
This year, yes.
this year.
All right. And understanding that we also have other areas, but I would like to kind of flip the script a little bit on this, is in this conversation, understanding what public safety services that we have, the 69 cents might not be enough. And I think we need to understand, because we've had conversation about code enforcement. Do we have enough staffing? Cloning Ben Crosby is not legal and it's probably not possible, but we need two of them. Based on our observations, what we hear from our neighbors about code enforcement. We hear about traffic. Do we have a sufficient level of service to meet the needs of our community? I think that's a fair question to ask, because we might find out in that conversation that the people of Keizer may want more. And then the costs that go with it. So I appreciate the fiscal responsibility of trying not to charge more than we need, but also I want to make sure that we aren't shortchanging what this community needs for appropriate level of service. So I will support this with the notion that, or idea, so we don't get the words confused, understanding that this is going to be a more comprehensive conversation about what we are actually providing for the people in our community, and have to be okay with, if the answer comes out with more, then we have to be okay with that. So that's my 1.5 cents, or I guess 69 cents worth. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously.
Before we go to the next item, I'd like to make a motion.
This is public hearings. So it's a notice public hearing.
Okay, then.
Okay. We're going to proceed
So we'll,
in process.
can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
So if Counselor Christopher has another issue or item motion to discuss, can Mr. Lindsay, can she bring that up under other business?
Certainly, and I didn't know if the motion was going to be about F prior to starting the,
It was about E.
oh,
that we just-
okay.
It was adjacent to E.
But it was,
I would think it would be helpful then to bring it up under new business, just so,
Under other business?
Under other business, yes.
yes,
Okay.
or
got
that's
it.
what I meant.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah. All right. What, me worry? All right, I'd like to open a public hearing on item 8F, a resolution amending the City of Keizer Park Services fee, repealing Resolution R 2017-2788. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, same story as before. The Budget Committee approved a budget which includes a park service fee increase of 50 cents per month. It goes from $4 to $4.50 with an effective date of January 1st, 2026. The fee increase will provide approximately $42,000 in additional resources to support the park system. And again, this will be primarily for capital improvements. With that, I'd be free to address any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the resolution or the staff report? Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, I wasn't here for the second day, so I couldn't ask all these questions, so I apologize. but I was ill. Why, this, from what I've heard and watched, this wasn't ran by the Parks Committee. Why was that?
That was just a mistake. It should have been gone through the Parks Committee.
Okay, and so this proposed fee would accelerate the timeline on a few parks projects, but these projects are still moving forward, right? In the worst case scenario, a few of them may be delayed by a few months, not canceled, not forgotten, just slightly instead extended. Is that correct?
So we think with this one, we would hope to be able to fund Bob Newton Park, and we have the $25,000 in the Keizer Little League fields as for a planning on how to approach getting that up to the quality that our council and staff would like to see. And then the next year with Country Glen project. So all of those are the three projects that are upcoming. And yeah, the answer to your question, I think, was delayed. Yes.
Okay, I just believe that we must remain mindful of the financial pressure our residents are facing, especially in today's challenging economic climate.
Thank you. Any further questions on the resolution or the staff report? Okay. Hearing none, I don't have anybody signed up under this public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the city council in this matter? Rhonda, come on down.
Good evening, mayors, city council, and staff. My name's Rhonda Rich. I have my private citizen hat on tonight because we didn't really have time to discuss this at the West Keizer Neighborhood Association meeting. But personally, I'm in support of you initiating a parks fee. And the reason for that is that, well, we initiated the parks fee to bring parks up to date, to put in rubberized surfaces, to just pretty up our, parks that were in really sore need of maintenance. And in the 2021 plan too, repair or replace worn or older park features was a top priority of citizens. So, and for me, we do have a couple parks in where I live in West Keizer, Willamette Manor and Wallace House Park, that still need rubberized surfaces. And now I thought that was the goal, is to get all rubberized surfaces in all the parks. And so I just think, I also have the copy of the 5-year plan, which I wish was, discussed maybe a little bit further, but I talked with Bill about this, and there's some really cool things over the next 5 years, like replacing the fall protection at the Big Toy. I think we're doing that this year. That got bumped up some, but in 27, 28, develop seasonal river access at Wallace House and Palmacia Park, and that's something that we've looked forward to. There's just a lot of information here, which I guess it's a good thing you don't have a full audience to come forward and say, no, we don't want that, because you did a good job in the budget meeting. And so I just want to say I'm in support. I think, people see parks, see what happens with their money in parks. The police, I think, is top, although we do need our water and our sewer. I think people love going to our parks, and it's a place to kind of decompress and get over the fees that we have to pay. But I also trust the Public Works and Bill that the monies that they had asked for will be put to good use for our community. So, and that you trust that you will carry forward whatever needs to be done. So that's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Rich? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lisa Sajeka.
Hi, I'm Lisa Sajeka. I am the vice chair of the Parks Board, but I'm here as a private citizen. I wasn't going to talk tonight. but parks are near and dear to my heart. And I remember when that child right there was just itty bitty, and the only decent park in Keizer was at Wallace House Park. And that play structure has not been updated since then. I did have rubberized surface, so I bet the rubberized surface is very, very old. I'm 100% in support of this parks fee. Like, I was disappointed when it got cut in half. The proposal was cut in half during the budget committee meeting. Bill is not frivolous with the people's money. Like, he pinches those pennies. Robert does a fantastic job. We do so much work with so few people. But our parks are a place to go, a haven, especially now with all of trying to increase residents. Like, we're getting less and less green spaces. We need to protect our green spaces. We need to make sure that they're taken care of, that they're safe, that there are additional cameras and additional parks, because now a lot of the parks have cameras, and the graffiti problem is moving to cameraless parks. So, like, we need this. It's not extravagant. So I just wanted to let you know that that's how I feel, and I think that other people feel that way too. And I'd be happy to answer any questions without tearing up now, because my child is 18.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Any questions for Ms. Sajeka? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Lisa, how would you have looked at this proposal differently had it been brought to the Parks Board?
We would have been able to have a conversation. We would have been able to hear from maybe, I mean, I don't know if this is news, but budget committee meetings aren't the most popular committee meetings out there. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, but you're weirder than we think.
I am,
so-
and I go to them, and the second budget committee meeting that, several budget committee members weren't at, I was not at either, but I was watching at home in my pajamas. So, live. So it was live in my pajamas. But yeah, no, we would have, people watch the Parks Board meetings if they don't come to the Parks Board meetings, and then they're loud. I mean, you as a counselor know that people will stop you on the street, people have got your email, people will call you and let you know how they feel about things. Walking around our parks, people let me know how they feel about things. So if they hear about this, it's just getting the word out. I think going to the Parks Board would have gotten the word out. Because this isn't asking for, a $50,000 building. This isn't asking for something that's extravagant, something that's only going to be used by a few people for a very specialized purpose. This is for all of our parks. This is for doing, like, fixing the cracked sign at Palmacia Park. It's for and it's for making improvements that we have planned for years and years in advance. So, or in the future, yeah, whatever, sorry. It's been a long day. So, anyway, I know, I'm in support of this. Like, we can't do enough with our parks. I mean, we've got to protect them. I mean, I wish we could finagle more of them, but I don't know how that's gonna happen. So, anyway.
Thank you. Other questions for Ms. Sajeka?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council under this public hearing? Ms. Bush?
Hi, Colleen Bush, citizen. We didn't have an opportunity to talk about it at our neighborhood association either, but we've had a lot of problems at Bob Newton Park. I really, really appreciate, and so does our, is it on?
No, Ben Miller. Yeah, it's on.
It's on, okay. I appreciate all the work that's gone into improving the park. Many people have been using it and enjoying it, but there have been several people abusing our park. The outhouse has been found having people staying overnight in there. We've had several cars parked in the park during school time waiting for kids. We've come to the Traffic Safety Committee, talking about the problems that that's caused. So and having this extra funds could help support services to help us take care of things as well. So that's all.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Bush? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Anyone else like to address the council under the public hearing? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Anything further from council before we close the public hearing? Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ever since the Budget Committee meetings, this has been bothering me. We're talking about $42,000. So what are we exactly going to spend that on? How, and over what period of time are we looking at that? That's one of my questions.
Okay. Mr. Lawyer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The 42,000, excuse me. I'm sorry, excuse me. The $42,000 in next year's budget is primarily allocated to the capital outlay, about $20,000 toward completing the phase 2 of Bob Newton Park, and then $20,000 in the Little League line item for, as I mentioned during the budget hearing, a master plan light for that park to figure out drainage improvements, long-term drainage improvements might include parking lot drainage, paving the parking lot, come up with a plan for the facility overall. Moving into the next years, that'll help fund other capital projects, like if we can't finish Bob Newton Park next fiscal year, we'd finish it the following year. And the next thing on the list after Bob Newton Park is replace the playground at Country Glen. So as the dominoes fall, things move down the line, if funding's not available to complete them as we've outlined in our 3 to 5 year plan.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Christopher?
Bill, did I hear you say we're right now in the middle of a Parks Master Plan mini update? Did you say those fateful words that we would then reopen the Parks Master Plan again?
No.
For Keizer Little League?
No.
Are we going to combine that with the things we're already doing?
No.
Well, what?
It's a separate, I used the term master plan. I should have used a facility plan, okay? This is a plan for the Keizer Little League Park facility. Drainage improvements, parking improvements. I used the wrong term.
Thank
Counselor.
you.
But
Because I
ultimately,
had the vapors.
yeah, I apologize for that. There's not a master plan involved here. It's a facility plan.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Okay. Okay, any other questions before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2025, amending the City of Keizer Park Services Fee and repealing Resolution R2017-2788.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, amending the City of Keizer Park Services Fee, repealing Resolution R 2017-2788. Discussion. Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to go on record. I love P Police. I love P Parks. I also know that we have a great ability here in Keizer to fundraise, just like we are doing right now with the Woody Williams Memorial. I believe that we've come together in tons of projects in the last 25 to 30 years that I've been here that we can get both accomplished, raise that $40,000, and then also be fiscally responsible and not raise fees. I will go down on the record on that. We can get it both done.
Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There was some discussion at some point about having some program put together where if there's somebody that really can't afford to pay these additional fees, that there be a way to waive those fees for those people. Where are we with that?
Mr. Wood?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. We are currently pulling data to try to put together a program to bring back to City Council. Unfortunately, we're right in the middle of budgets, well, wrapping up budget season and moving into audit season, but my staff are working on pulling the data as we speak, so that's kind of where we're at.
Thank you.
Thank you. As a follow-up to that, this is for people under the age of 60. We already have a program for over 60. Is that correct?
That is correct, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no.
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 Motion passes 5-2. The noes are Christopher and Cross. Let's go to item 8G. I'm going to open the public hearing for resolution declaring the city's election to receive state revenues and resolution certifying that the city of Keizer provides 4 or more municipal services. City Manager, Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, in order to receive state shared revenues, the city of Keizer must approve a resolution electing to receive the funds and certifying that the city provides 4 or more municipal services. The 2 resolutions tonight do that. We do anticipate receiving $338,400 in state share revenues. As we talked about during the budget committee, these are some of the revenues that I'm a little bit concerned about going forward as the state has clawed some of those back to build a warehouse. So with that, if there's any additional questions, I'd be free to address those.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the resolutions as presented? Okay, under this public hearing, I don't have anybody signed up. Is there anyone who would like to address the council under this public hearing? Okay. Seeing none, council members, do you need any additional information prior to closure of the public hearing? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before I put any motions on the table, there's the word "and." Do you want them in 2 separate motions? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay,
That's
thank
just
you.
the easiest.
Just checking.
Yeah, thank you.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2025 declaring the city's election to receive state revenues.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, declaring the city's election to receive state revenues. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Council President Starr?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2025 certifying that the city of Keizer provides 4 or more municipal services.
More. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, certifying that the city of Keizer provides 4 or more municipal services. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. That takes us then to the final public hearing. I'm now opening public hearing on item 8H, resolution adopting the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, the City of Keizer Budget Committee met on May 12th and 13th to receive and deliberate the 2025-26 City of Keizer Manager Recommended Budget. By state law, the City Council must hold a public hearing, receive the testimony, and adopt the upcoming fiscal year budget by June 30th, 2025. The budget does include a water rate increase of 1%, a stormwater rate of an increase of 23 cents. While it's in there, it's not approved, a police service fee increase, and a park service increase of 50 cents per dwelling unit per month. In addition, the Budget Committee approved the full permanent rate of 2.0838 per 1,000 of assessed value on the tax rolls of the City of Keizer for fiscal year 25-26. The Budget Committee did make several adjustments to the budget, specifically in the general fund non-department requirements. Materials and services was increased by $2,200 to provide for joint neighborhood association marketing costs. The transient occupancy tax was increased by transient occupancy tax materials and services was increased by $32,600 to provide additional appropriations for the Chamber of Commerce, Keizer Heritage Museum, Keizer Heritage Foundation, parade-related costs previously accounted for in the PEG fund, and the summer concert support. Capital outlay was decreased by $32,600 to provide appropriations for those material and service increases. In addition, capital outlay was reallocated to provide $40,000 for additional license plate reader camera and a park camera. Let's see, in the police services fee, license and fees and contingencies was reduced by $16,200 to reflect a lower per month rate increase. The park services fee was also reduced by $42,000 to reflect a 50-cent per month decrease. The street fund, materials and services was reduced by $2,000 to account for parade traffic control being budgeted in the general fund transient occupancy tax. Stormwater fund charges for services was reduced by $154,100 to reflect a lower than requested increase in the ESU service fee. Capital outlay was also reduced by $154,100 to reflect a decrease in available resources. The PEG fund, materials and services, was also reduced by $2,900 to move the parade-related costs to the general fund in the transient occupancy tax area. Tonight, there is a public hearing to receive any potential public testimony. It was noticed in the May 23rd, 2025 edition of Keizer Times. City staff is requesting some amendments to the budget, if you're so open to them. The first is to recognize the reduced stormwater rate increase on the street fund. This is a piece that I missed during the budget committee itself. The street fund pays the stormwater fund its share of the street sweeping cleaning costs. So we're requesting that we reduce the transfer out by $49,600 in the street fund, and that would increase the contingency by $4,960. In the stormwater fund, we'll decrease transfers in by $49,600 and decrease capital outlay by $49,600 to reflect the lower resources available. The second piece, as Mr. Lawyer had indicated earlier, we are requesting to do an interfund loan from the Stormwater Improvement Fund to the Stormwater Fund to provide resources for the Claggett Creek Watershed Enhancement Project. This would increase transfers in by $200,000 in the Stormwater Fund with a corresponding increase in capital outlay. In the Transportation Improvement Fund, we would increase transfers out by $200,000 and decrease capital outlay by $200,000. Those are the two amendments that the city staff are requesting. With that, your alternatives tonight are to adopt the attached resolution or adopt the attached resolution as amended if you want to incorporate the city or the staff recommended amendments. You can also change any of the line items as long as it doesn't exceed $5,000 or 10% of the fund expenditures. With that, you could also take no action, and we would probably be talking again on the 16th as we have to have something in place by the 30th. Otherwise, we'll be shutting the city down, and that would be bad news. With that, I'd be free to address any questions.
All right. So I do have one question that was regarding the earlier action regarding the delay of the implementation of the increase in the police services fee. So that would be an additional amendment, correct?
We can amend the budget if you so choose. Otherwise, we can leave it alone and we'll just have to realize we're not going to have those resources coming in, and we'll have to plan accordingly.
Okay. So we don't need to, because it hasn't been adopted and that is a requirement for being able to impose those, even though they are in the budget, they will not be a realized revenue stream. Is that what I heard?
That is correct.
Okay.
What might make sense is when we come back in November, we can make an adjustment based off of whatever the council decides as far as a fee increase or decrease.
Yeah. So by it already being in there, if we don't make a change and decide to move forward, then it's already in there.
That is correct.
Okay. So it might make life simpler.
Absolutely.
Okay. Simpler is good. Any additional questions before I look to the audience for public comment? Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Wood, I think this is a process question, so I don't know if it's in the public hearing or we do it when we're out of public hearing and do a deliberation. So I'll look to someone who knows better than I. If we wanted to put like a budget note connected to a line item allocation, do we do that now and then, or do we wait until after we're out of the public hearing? So so what I'm asking, or what I'm interested in, is in the TOT, the TOT funds, the dollars that are allocated to the Chamber of Commerce, putting a budget note that says half now, and then asking them to come back in January and do a report on the first 6 months of the fiscal year. And then based upon that report, the release of the second half, or conversation about the release of the second half.
Madam Mayor,
Mr.
City
Wood?
Council, I think we can address that now.
Okay.
Just amending or changing any of the footnotes really just requires consent. So you don't have to take any formal action. If I get a bunch of heads nodding that that's the direction you want to go, we can definitely add that footnote.
Okay, thank you.
What kind of action do you need to see if that's what the council wants to do?
Just nod our head,
Probably a motion would be appropriate.
but we can't do a motion and
Well, we'll have to do
do it after the public hearing, right? Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, with that, any other questions on the resolution or the staff report? Okay, I'm looking for folks here who would like to address the council under this public hearing. I have nobody signed up. Is there anyone who would like to address the council on this last public hearing of the evening on the whole budget? Okay. Seeing none, council members, do you need anything else prior to the closure of the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr, would you like to put the motion on the table, please?
So, process question.
Sure.
Which motion should we do first? Probably the
it-
discussion about the budget note?
Well, here's the thing, yeah, you could amend the budget after the central question if you want, or if it's easier and faster and it's on everybody's mind, just do the little one first. But I don't know if there's gonna be other amendments too, so maybe the little one first, how about
Let's
that?
do the little one and then do one, okay. So I will put a motion on the table. I move that we add a budget note to the Chamber of Commerce line item to allocate half on or after July 1st, and then ask for a report in January 2026, and contingent upon that report, the release of the second half of their funds.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council add a budget note regarding the allocation of funds under TOT for the Chamber of Commerce to issue the first payment after July 1, 2025, and to issue the second payment after a report at the end of 6 months of the city fiscal year. Discussion.
Just a clarification, I said would be contingent upon that report.
Contingent?
Yeah.
Okay. Counselor Parsons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess the only question I have is, do we require the other organizations that we're giving top dollars to give us a report before we give them any money?
We don't give anybody 50 grand.
Well, doesn't matter. I'm just asking the question, yes or no?
No, we do not, according to, I'm looking at Mr. Wood, and it's a no. Did we, if I recall correctly, we get them at the end of the year for the Keizer Heritage. So that's required under the contractual agreement with them. And other organizations provide it during or at the end of the fiscal year.
Madam Mayor, one comes
Lindsay?
to mind, and it's, I think, brand new, but the library will be making a report, and they get, what, $30,000?
Right, is that before or after they receive the funds?
I don't know.
We haven't decided.
So we don't know when they will be receiving those funds and the order. Counselor Parsons, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, so I guess contingent upon what? The contract being drawn up, or what would it be the?
Well, they're already under contract.
We do have a contract now?
We do.
We
No.
never signed a contract.
No, it never got done. It got tabled. No, you got, the council tabled it, remember? It was voted down to complete the contract. So, yeah.
Then why?
So maybe I want to amend my motion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to complete the contract.
Yeah.
well, yeah, the council voted down the contract to proceed, and they wanted to table it and come back with additional information. We issued the dollars to the Chamber of Commerce for the current fiscal year, for their fiscal year, which had just ended. And then we were going to go back and continue the conversation with the chamber on completing the contractual agreement. And we've been a little busy with this budget and Keizer Fest thing, so that meeting has not yet happened. Follow up, Councilor Parsons?
So question number 3.
Just one more.
Just one more.
Just one more. So perhaps we say, we give them the 25 now, and we give them the 25 contingent upon a contract being signed prior to January. I think we need a contract.
I want a contract.
Then just get the contract signed before we release.
I'll amend my motion. Can I amend my own motion?
Yes, you can.
Of course you can.
Great.
Yes, Council President Starr, yes, you may amend your motion.
Madam Mayor, may I amend my motion now?
Yes, you may.
I'd like to amend my motion, so the motion will now state that I move that we secure a fully executed contract with the Keizer Chamber of Commerce prior to dispersing any funds. And so let's start there.
I'll second that.
We already have, who's the second, original second?
Oh, sorry.
It was Dan.
Procedural question.
Just one more question. Oh my God.
Councilor Kohler?
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam Mayor.
Lindsay?
So should we just drop that first motion and just accept this as a motion?
Yeah, withdraw your motion. Yeah.
If the maker of the motion wants it to be part of the original motion, you could just say, secure chamber agreement prior to any dispersing of any funds with half of the monies going the first half of the year and half of it going contingent upon the January
That's what I was
26th
gonna
review of their earmarks or benchmarks.
So just to clarify before I agree to what you said, that would then allow us to get a fully executed agreement done prior to releasing any funds and then doing it in 2 payouts.
Yes.
Yes, I move what Mr. Lindsay said.
And I'll accept that.
Okay, so there's a motion, the motion has been amended and seconded. Any further discussion? So I do have a question. We went through a lot of conversations with the chamber and so forth, so I think there is a timeliness to this because it did slip past their fiscal year. So I think it's going to be incumbent upon our team to contact the chamber. This was their meetings, and ask them if they would like to reopen those conversations with the city for the contract. Mr. Brown?
Madam Mayor and Council, you authorized me to work directly with
Thank you.
Mr. Thompson and Corey. And
That's
so we've talked, the chamber, Corey and Jonathan and I, and I'll reach out to him. I've got the email started saying, let's finalize this thing. And what I took away from the last discussion is we needed a little bit more data, but not overly burdensome with data.
Right.
And I think that was the combination of the council's remarks. So that would be the goal.
Yeah, I think that captures, I know it's a little bit gushy, but it's the idea that we want to have good understanding but not micromanage another organization. Is that a fair assessment? Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Councilor Kohler?
Just one real quick one, Mr. Wood. Are you comfortable with what we've talked about? Will you be able to sleep tonight?
I will definitely be able to sleep tonight, thank you.
Thank you.
I think from my point of view, timeliness, and thank you, Mr. Brown, for getting right on this, and we need to get this done. We've had a lot of conversations. Again, this was new territory. We've never had a written agreement, a comprehensive agreement between the city and the Chamber of Commerce, unlike other cities in our region that do. So it's taken a little more time, but to get this done within the first quarter, if at all possible, so we have clarity for both the city and for the Chamber of Commerce as an organization. I think that's only fair to do that for them. So I just want to make sure that we are really being timely. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Want to put the main motion on the table, please?
Yes. I move this, okay, I'm not gonna do the it's not the amended one. We're doing the full meal deal, right?
This is as amended.
As
because-
amended? Okay.
Yes, because this was the list.
We just amended.
Oh, actually,
I need a break.
we're going to take one here after
Thank you.
this, but thank you for that clarifying question, Council President Starr. The amendments are those that were delineated by Mr. Wood.
Right.
That were in addition to what had been done during the budget process. So this is under current situation. I see the section C that talks about the interfund loans and the impact on the reduced stormwater rate. Is that correct, Mr. Wood?
Madam Mayor, City Council, that is correct.
Okay, so that's the amendment.
So you want the amended one, right?
Yes, please.
I move that Keizer City Council adopt resolution R2025, adopting the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget as amended, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, adopting the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget as amended, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes. All in favor, please signify by saying, oh, I need discussion before we go to that.
No, I think I'm done now.
You're done? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. With that, we are going to take a recess until 8:10. We are in recess. All right, I'd like to reconvene the Keizer City Council, and we will resume our agenda on section 9, which is administrative action. And we will start with 9A, a resolution authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with K&L Industries, Inc. for 2025 pavement resurfacing. Mr. Brown?
Madam Mayor and Council, Mr. Lawyer has this item.
Thank you, Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Madam Mayor and Council, this is the annual resurfacing project that will resurface approximately 1.7 miles of streets that include Shady Lane, Evans Avenue North, Manbin Drive North, Burgundy Avenue, Burgundy Court, Shadowwood Loop, Amy Lane, Leprechaun Court, Blarney Stone Court, and River Rock Drive Northeast. This includes resurfacing of the streets and replacing the corner ramps for the streets that either have them and that need to be replaced, that don't meet the current standards. For instance, Burgundy Court, Shadowwood Loop, those all meet the current standards. So one of the first times we've done a resurfacing project that we don't have to replace a curb ramp on the street. Pretty thankful of that. But Amy Lane, Barney Stone, Leprechaun, River Rock Drive, those will need to be replaced. This project also includes their realignment of the northeast corner of River Rock and 14th. That's currently a very wide radius corner, and current staff, engineering staff, don't really understand why it was built that way. It just doesn't make sense. So it's kind of a vision problem for people coming out on River Rock onto 14th to make a left-hand turn. So we're gonna just shorten that radius up so it's not it's not difficult now, but we have the opportunity to make it better, so we're gonna do that. We solicited bids for the project through the formal bidding process. Bids range from $1.2+ million to $892,000, with K&L Incorporated submitting the lowest bid. Council approval is required for contracts of this size. Approving it now will allow us to get the paving done this summer, which is a summertime project, obviously. Options are to approve the resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into the agreement or take no action. Staff recommends the council adopt the attached resolution. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the enclosed resolution? Mr. Lawyer, I have one, and that is for those who are watching and wonder how streets are selected for paving. Would you like to share with folks about the pavement condition index work that we get done?
Certainly, thank you, Madam Mayor. We do use that is the correct term, pavement condition index. The numbers that we have for those are provided to us from inspections by Marion County staff. They were done, I think it was about 6 years ago now, and we're budgeting to have it redone next year. So we have updated numbers, and they go around and they evaluate the streets based on cracking, settled spots, alligatoring, failures, those kinds of things. And then staff uses those numbers to look at what streets need to be resurfaced. We start with those numbers, then we drive each street that we've selected to determine, has it failed to a point it's not worth resurfacing now, it needs more work, is this still a good candidate? Put our list together accordingly, and then put them out for bid.
Thank you very much. And a follow-up question on that. I hear from jurisdictions across the state that the gas tax revenue that we use for this work has been declining. If we had a little bit more coming in, would that make a difference in our overall pavement condition and our ability to keep things in a state of good repair?
Yes, absolutely. I've mentioned before, the federal requirement to update the corner ramps, the ADA ramps, takes a lot of money away from asphalt. In some projects we've done in the past, it's been almost half of what we spent for paving, we spent on ramps. So that has affected our ability, the number of miles a year we can pave. So any additional funding we could get would benefit the city in being able to keep the streets in better condition by paving more streets every year.
Okay, thank you. So there is a sense of us not being at the level that we would like to have. You like to keep it at a certain index, and I don't remember what that number is.
Yeah, it's in the high 50s is ideal. The challenge that we have in Keizer is we have a lot of streets that were built within a 10-year time frame, 90s, okay?
Yeah.
So potentially they're all going to fail at the same time. And we're not seeing that yet. We've seen some fail earlier, but I've also seen some that look really good that I expected to have problems or need some resurfacing by now. So we've been fortunate, but my concern is at some point it's going to catch up with us.
Okay. Well, thank you. I really appreciate knowing, and I'd like to put a plug in for Dearborn North.
Plugs in.
All right.
It's been in.
Okay.
It just hasn't gotten up the list yet, but that's one we talked about next year, and it has some repairs that are needed, so it's a more expensive street to do. The other thing we were looking at is water line replacement. So we get the water line replaced before we pave the street.
Good idea.
Yeah, we don't like to look stupid, so we try not to do that.
Fix it first, then pave it.
Right.
Yeah.
Tear it up, rip it up, then pave it.
Yep, and make everybody else do it too.
That's right.
If folks are wondering, you pave it and then you have the other utilities come through, not in Keizer, you call them up and you say, get your stuff done so you don't tear up our new pavement.
Correct.
Okay.
The one thing we can't control is development, so we'll have pave a street, somebody on that street partitions their property, needs another sewer service. I can't tell them no.
I know.
They have to cut the street. But we keep that to a minimum, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2025, authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with KNL Industries, Inc. for 2025 pavement resurfacing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with KNL Industries, Inc. for 2025 pavement resurfacing. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Let's go to item 9B, resolution designating no parking zone on Greenwood Drive Northeast, Keizer, Oregon. Does this go to Mr. Lawyer?
This does go to Mr. Lawyer.
All right, Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff was contacted by the property owner at 609 Greenwood Drive Northeast requesting a no parking zone be created along a portion of their property on Greenwood. This request was made primarily due to safety concerns for vehicle traffic, as this portion of Greenwood Drive, which has an S-curve around it, is a narrow roadway. This really affects the property owner only in terms of impact to their property, not anybody across the street. This is a 22-foot wide turnpike section street. In other words, there's no curbs or gutters, it's just pavement. It's about 22 feet wide, so as I say, it's narrow, and there is an S-curve there. There is a multifamily complex to the north of this property, and I believe that's where where the vehicles are coming from. Not positive of that, but I believe that's where they're coming from. Parking currently is allowed on both sides of Greenwood for the length of Greenwood. The property owner is the one requesting the no parking zone only across the frontage of their property, and they're willing to accept that they can only park in a small portion in the front of their property. The exact area to be designated is shown in an exhibit attached in the packet. And the no parking will be defined with signage indicated on the exhibit, basically one sign at each end of the no parking zone that says no parking here to corner with an arrow, the corner being the curve in the street. There's really no strategic impact. There's minimal financial impact with this approval. Approval of this request will allow the safety concerns to be mitigated as timely as possible. And city council authorization is needed to establish no parking zones within the city. Your alternatives that I've identified are to adapt the attached order, establishing a no parking zone, or do nothing and the parking will remain allowable in this portion of Greenwood Drive. Staff recommends the city council adopt the attached order. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the order? Council President Starr, would you please put a motion on the table?
I move the Keizer City Council adopt an order designating a no parking zone on Greenwood Drive Northeast, Keizer, Oregon.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt an order designating no parking zone on Greenwood Drive Northeast, Keizer, Oregon. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. All right, let's go to the last item under administrative action, 9C, which is a resolution authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with K&E Excavating, Inc. for Claggett Creek Wetlands Enhancement Project. I heard excitement in the audience, and I am excited about this too. Mr. Brown?
Administrative action is the Bill Lawyer show today. So
It
with
is.
the last item, pass the ball to Mr. Lawyer.
All right,
Thank you,
Mr.
Brown.
Lawyer.
Madam Mayor and Council, this project is the one I referenced earlier in the meeting about that needs to borrow to be able to make the project, to fund the project for completion. This project encompasses about 5.78 acres of property on the east side of Claggett Creek that the city currently owns. Part of the property, the bulk of the property, was deeded to the city when the Verta Crossing Apartments land use decision came through and the zone change, excuse me.
No rush.
Thank you. When the zone change of conditional use was approved, the family that owned the property at the time elected to just deed that property to the city. When the apartment project came along, the owners at that time identified some wetlands property, and that was on their property, and it was to their benefit to get the wetlands off their property for financing reasons primarily. And so they offered it to the city at a really good price. We purchased that property. What we did when we purchased that property was allowed for the boardwalk that's identified with this project to be built mostly out of the wetlands. Without that property, it would have been not mostly, but a large percentage in the wetlands, which permitting wise is more difficult, more costly, all of that. So it was really a good deal to get that property so we could move the boardwalk back. The boardwalk will go from Shamawa Road to Dearborn, will be a concrete sidewalk for a portion of it, and then a composite material boardwalk for the area in the wetlands and the part that's gonna get wet more often. It also includes taking down the man-made berm on the east side of the creek so that that property will actually flood more often. We'll do a small, I'll say a minimal amount of flood reduction downstream. The bigger benefit is to clean the water better. That water go in there and get filtered by the natural plants, and then soak in the ground before it goes back in the creek. Includes planting trees, native plants throughout the whole 5.78 acres, and still leave open spot for the waterfowl to use that area in the wintertime. It's something that I have had in my mind for, I don't know, 20 plus years. Never really thought it would be a reality because I didn't really ever think we'd have the opportunity to have the property. And so once we got the property, my wheels really started spinning, tried to figure out funding and timing. And so here the project is today. We did go through the bidding process, public bidding process for the project. The bids ranged, I'm gonna go from 1.8 million plus down to 1.1. We estimated the project to be about 1.2 million, and thankfully it came in just under that amount. Approval of this request now will allow the project to be completed within the federal in-water work period this summer. Council approved. This summer? Yes, ma'am. That is the goal. The council's approval is required to award this contract. Options are to adopt the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to award the contract or take no action. I think you can kind of see staff recommends you adopt the resolution approving the project. And with that, I'd be happy to answer questions.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Lawyer. Any questions on the staff report or the project? Councilor Christopher.
It's 5.7 acres, that piece, the Herbert property from the creek up to Verta Crossing, that's 5.7 acres?
The entire piece, what we got from the Herbers and that we bought from Verta Crossing is 5.78, yes.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we bought about 2 from Verta Crossing, so the original was 4+ acres.
I just didn't think it was that big. That's great. Okay.
Any further questions? All right, Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2025, authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with K&E Excavating, Inc. for Claggett Creek Wetland Enhancement Project.
Looking for a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2025, authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with K&E Excavating, Inc. for Claggett Creek Wetland Enhancement Project. Discussion? Counselor Kohler?
Just a question. What was the original budget for that?
We budgeted $1.2 million. Actually, that's just coincidentally ended up being the engineer's estimate, but that was the budgeted
Pretty damn
amount.
close.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good estimating. I just want to make one comment because you talked about, you've been dreaming about this for 20 years. And I remember early on in my tenure on city council that Councilor Walsh also had talked about these opportunities to put in boardwalks and so forth. And I'm glad we get to get this done before you retire.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And one thing I should have mentioned that I didn't, there's also, this ties right into the Parks Master Plan. There's a goal within the Parks Master Plan to create a linear path along Claggett Creek throughout the whole city. This is a great start. This is a really great start. I mean, it's in the center of the city. It's very visible. It should get a lot of attention and a lot of encouragement to expand moving into the future, so.
Indeed. Councilor Christopher.
And just another comment, and you know what else it does? It removes that pedestrian walking, walking on Verda. That is a fast, and it's right by that circle. That is fast-moving traffic, so moving it away makes it a much more pleasurable experience to be down there. It's a win-win. It's a good job. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. I didn't think so. Motion passes unanimously. That concludes administrative action for this evening. We'll now go to other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new oral matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Mr. Brown, do you have items for us tonight?
Madam Mayor, I do have something that I would like to walk on. It's a matter of a purchase of a strategic property of interest to the city and adjacent to city-owned property along Shemawa Road, McLeod and Lock Haven. The specific address is 5660 McLeod Lane, and we're recommending a purchase of this property for $450,000.
Okay.
So we'll need a motion to take up the matter.
If you wanted to take up this matter, you would also have to suspend your rules if you were going to actually make a motion tonight on it.
Thank you very much. Council President Starr, would you please make the motion to suspend the rules so we can consider this matter?
I move to suspend the rules so we can take up the matter of the property purchase.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules to take up this matter. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so do you want to put the motion on the table, please?
I move that the Keizer City Council authorize the city manager to purchase the real property located at 5660 McLeod Lane, Northeast, Keizer, Marion County, Oregon, tax lot 063W36CB00100 from Mildred E. Ayala for $450,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council authorize the city manager to purchase the real property located at 5660 McLeod Lane Northeast, Keizer, Marion County, Oregon, tax lot 063W36CB00100 from Mildred E. Ayala for $450,000. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, I'm going to go to Mr. Brown for a second one, and then I'll go to Councilor Christopher.
Thank you. As you know, we have been waiting on the city of Salem to give us a proposal for the sign on the circle where it's welcome to Keizer and welcome to Salem and Keizer working together. All right, so I wanted to throw this out for you for your comment, and let me see if I throw it over there. This is what we got first from them. which way it goes. Let's see. So, this is what we got first from them, working together, Salem Keizer. You may have seen, I believe the poles are up. There's 3 breakaway poles up there, and they've landscaped it nicely. And this is what we got from them first for the one that says Salem and Keizer working together. Actually, do you want to pull down there so our guests can see it?
Alphabetical.
So, and then on the one side, it has the Keizer, welcome to Keizer, and then the other side, welcome to Salem. And what I told them first is that it doesn't use our color brand there, so I sent them our color branding, and they sent back
There you go.
these options for us. So they said, well, we could do this. They did actually Councilor Christopher and I were talking about the logo.
That's the wrong kind of iris.
And yeah, we were talking about, well, maybe there's a progression of the iris. But anyway, that's what they came up with. Using our branding is another option where we just use our city logo, and then, or we just do that, just the city logo. So
I like that. That's
question is, which one would you prefer? And then, let's see if I can get to the other
bottom one. Bottom one. Keep going.
You just
I
want
agree.
Just our logo?
Yeah. It's easier to see when you're traveling. Councilor Christopher?
Well,
There's too many colors.
yeah, why don't you, did you not talk about a little while ago modernizing potentially the logo? Okay, where's that?
Yeah, so, and this isn't really the space to do that, but when, you and I were talking about that, I like the word that you said is having a progression of the logo. And I thought, not knowing that this was the wrong brand of iris, that
Yeah,
this might be good,
That's not a bearded iris.
That's not a bearded iris.
it might be a good progression, but maybe the right kind of
So
iris.
that's kind of what you had in mind?
I
is right
kind of
there?
like this one with the right iconic.
So is there a time constraint on this? Can they go forward?
no.
Can they go forward with their sign while we take more time to decide? I think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, we do a lot with public art. I'd send the whole thing to KPAC and get the artists' ideas on it. I'm not an artist. I'm art adjacent, and I work with them, but I'd like to know what I'd send the whole thing to KPAC and get their opinion.
Yeah, so that can be the direction from the council if you'd like.
You all feel good about that? Kick it to
And they may
KPAC.
kick all of them out and give you something different, because they're artists.
Yep.
Yep. Oh,
You
yeah.
do or you don't, yeah.
Is that?
I have trouble with that blue, so.
Unless we're going boating.
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea is
That's gonna go in the river.
tying together that we're both on the water.
Yeah, I think this
Yeah,
is not
there's
ready for prime time.
That's like an optical illusion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, wait,
we will
It's going
take
to
it
KPAC.
to KPAC.
Yep.
I think that's right.
Thank you for the feedback.
We'll get some graphic design input that will help us.
Why don't you work
Councilor
on it?
Kohler, did you have something?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. You might ask them when they're gonna start watering that grass again. Looks like heck.
We know somebody over there, so.
Yep, they did put the sprinklers in. We watched them do it, so. Yep, they are there.
Can you send me that, if you sent me that slide deck?
Yeah.
I'd at least get it in front of some artists right now.
Yep, we're good. Okay, thank you.
Of course, Council President Starr.
Thank you. Did they have a professional graphic?
Yeah, did they?
Was there a professional graphic designer involved in that?
I'm with her
I don't
on
know for
that.
sure. I think it went through their art commission.
It did?
There's a lot of design principles that are in there. I can see the simplicity of the logo, the melding together of concepts, but Yeah. It's all in the eye of the beholder.
Even if we used the sign behind us, it would be maybe better than.
I don't disagree with that. The simplicity, I mean, you're driving. You just gotta know what's it, and the blue says Keizer, you know where you're going. So I actually really like that idea, of just use our logo, that one.
Because that one
That one's
was
simple.
complimentary to the,
I agree, Counselor Cross and Counselor Christopher, I agree, that one popped, the one behind the screen there,
yeah.
pops,
And all you'd have to add is welcome to.
yeah.
Yeah, take that, let's take a look at that. Okay. You guys, seriously, all we'd have to add is welcome to.
Yeah.
Done.
And it's simple. And it's very easy to see when you're traveling. We don't want somebody to, and this is not a place where you're going to sit there and examine the art up close. It's not like when I'm walking here and I'm passing one of our signal boxes with the wraps, where I get to enjoy it up close and personal. That is not that. Okay, so it sounds like the recommendation from council is to
Send it to
modify
KPAC.
that, send to K-PAC with
We like this. Yeah.
that as a very strong
Yeah.
option that we like.
Yeah.
Am I hearing, is that correct?
Yes, I
Nod?
think that's
Okay.
correct.
And a professional graphic designer.
Yeah. For whatever we need modified to say welcome to. Okay, there we go. Okay, Council Christopher, you had something you wanted to bring under, other business?
I do. So I would like to make a motion, and we'll need to suspend the rules to take action on it, but I'd like to make a motion that we establish a city council work group for the purpose of getting started on the police fee recommendations. And I would like to recommend that we have Counselor Starr chair that and add Counselor Kohler and Counselor Duran as the work group, and not unlike what we established for the strategic plan. Let them work and determine who else they want on that committee till they can get it to a point where there are some ideas, then bring it to city council in a work session, and as many work sessions as we need after that until we can get something. But I would like to have a smaller group working tomorrow. Tomorrow on this. I see this police fee sustainability issue as the issue of our city council session in these 2 years. I think this is the issue. So let's get on it. So that's my motion. What do I need to do, Joe?
First, a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay.
I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to suspend the rules, take up this matter. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. The rules are suspended to take up the matter.
Thank you.
And
So
then
I would,
a motion to establish a city council work group concerning the police fee
yes,
involving Duran, Cross, and Kohler.
correct.
No.
No, not Cross, Star.
Star, Kohler, Duran.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, Star, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry, I misheard.
Okay, and the charge of this work group would then be to,
Determine who else, like, I'm sure they'll probably want to bring someone on from police, they'll probably want to bring a couple of citizens on, and then start, and city staff, of course, and start to work through, number one, Counselor Duran's idea of the equitability of the business fees. I can't imagine, we have, what, a handful of people in here. I would like to see by a raise of hands, how many of you think it's fair that Target pays $6.87 a month, the same as you do? Who thinks that's fair?
so we want to talk about equitability. The other one I heard was the level of service. Working with the police department on, something we've already asked Chief Copeland to work on, which is the level of service
Okay,
model.
great,
Because you have to know what you're buying.
great.
And this is something we did when we did the original parks fee, was exactly that. We, Chief Teague produced a level of service model, so we knew what level of service we needed to fully fund. Mr. Brown?
Yes, thanks. Madam Mayor and Council, I like the idea of having the council's help in putting this together, because I don't want anybody who was maybe watched tonight to think that the very incremental amount that we were asking for in the police fee that was delayed.
Solves the problem.
Solves the problem because we have, we're $2 million upside down. And fortunately, we've saved money that has gone unspent from rolling vacant positions. So we have some time to work on this, but it really, I guess I can't agree more with your sentiment. That is the problem to solve.
It's the problem
for the
of our
city.
session.
In
Mayor,
our-
I would like to add to that with the intent that we are looking towards moving forward to an advisory vote in the midterm election, November of 2026. That's the point. Get the work done now. We have 18 months. Mr. Brown assures me that's plenty of time.
Well, this is your motion.
That's
If you
right.
want to include all of those in there, I don't want to presume an outcome that an election would be the appropriate vehicle. I think that's going to be a recommendation of the work group on what the appropriate vehicle is for outreach into the community. Last time we did outreach for 12, 18 months. That went into,
Well, my motion, and if there's a second for it, would be with the intent of taking it to the people in a vote.
so just the voters, not that all the people who pay, just the voters. Okay. So that's the motion. So
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to establish a work group on the police services fee, Star, Kohler, and Duran for equitable fees, level of service, and intent to go to a vote. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. No. So motion passes 5-2. Noes are Clark and Parsons. My no vote was because of the last item, was to make an election the requirement. I don't object to it being an option, but I want to get the information back from the work group as to the best course of action, and I'm not convinced of that right from the get-go.
And maybe the work group will decide that. Who knows?
Yeah, they can make that recommendation. Okay, any other business tonight? Okay, staff updates. So, Mr. Brown?
I'll just use the privilege of having the mic to say our McNary graduates are happening this week, and I have one of them and one of the valedictorians in my home, so.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Very good. Mr. Cleaver?
None here.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wood?
I just want to thank the city council and the budget committee for all their hard work over the last couple of weeks. I do appreciate the hard questions. I appreciate that we as a city don't just rubber stamp the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to you and your staff and the ELT for putting together a tremendous process and budget. Appreciate that. Ms. Bissett?
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
Lieutenant Nelson?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Lawyer?
I just want to remind everybody of Public Works Day, June 18th, 10 to 2, Keizer Rapids Park. Come out, have a great time.
Sounds good. Mr. Witham?
Nothing tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lindsay?
The next meeting, you guys can expect to see a purchase and sale agreement for the Area B. I'm saying that correctly, yeah. Yeah. Keizer Station Area B. So that's exciting. And I just want to say hats off to the fundraising abilities of this group. As, you know, I don't always get to see everything you guys do, but it's crazy what you guys do in the middle of, say, Saturday night. While everybody else is just doing normal stuff, you guys are raising thousands of dollars. So I know you guys do a heck of a whole lot of that. It's just nice to get a glimpse of it, and it was impressive, so thanks.
Thank you, and thank you for coming. All right, we will now go to council member reports and start with Councilor Duran.
I broke the mic.
This one's on you.
Can't wait to hear what this is.
Hey, it actually sounds pretty good. I didn't break it. Last week, the town hall, I wanted to say that the work that was done at that town hall, I thought was awesome. Getting the conversation that we had and the people that came in and talked, it gave us on the council. It gave me a lot to think about and a lot of understanding of what people are really concerned about. So that was great. That was on Tuesday. Wednesday was the community dinner. I enjoyed the baked potato. That was awesome.
Dang it, I love that.
And then Saturday night, the Gold Star Memorial, everybody that came out it was a great concert, and we raised a little over $6,000 for that, for the Gold Star Memorial. So I'm happy that it worked out well.
Congratulations, great job. All right, Counselor Christopher.
I just wanted to mention, I filled in for Counselor Parsons at the Neighborhood Association. I get confused. Is it the Northeast or the Northwest? Which one?
Microphone, please.
Northwest. They are such a great and effective neighborhood association. Griffin is so terrific, the way he lays everything out. It was really, really good. We brought the pavilion charts down there for them, and they all asked great questions. It was really a good experience. It's a terrific neighborhood association. I tell you, I haven't been to a bad neighborhood association. All the neighborhood associations are very keyed in and in touch with the folks that they serve, so I'm impressed by that. I wanted to share that the art fair planning for our third year, this year, the art fair was increased by 30%. Last year we had 32 vendors, this year we had 40. Everybody made money, and we only had a slight windstorm, but no rain. I prayed for no rain. I didn't realize I had to pray for no wind too. Got that now. And so we had some stuff damaged, we had a couple of tents damaged, but other than that, it was a really successful event, and everybody's pretty excited to get started next year. I want to echo what Councilor Duran said about the UGB. We had over 40 people there. It was, you know what I love about those town halls? Kudos to you, Councilor Starr. That was a great idea, and I'll tell you why. It is casual, it's not here, it's not in a formal setting, we're not taping anything, there's no microphones, we're just neighbors. We're just neighbors talking to neighbors. And it is a really comfortable feeling, and I think that's why we had so many folks who were willing to stand up and give us their opinion. It's a terrific formula, so kudos to you. Last but not least, Councilor Duran and I didn't know what in the world we were getting into. I want to thank Sandy Am Brewery they had terrific customer service in their event center called The Bad Space. It sounds bad, but it's really good. It's like a little speakeasy right across the parking lot from their business. They were super accommodating. We had JFK Light, I forgot their name. Electroacoustics. They were terrific. They had the band going, they had the audience going and singing and waving hands. It was a really fun event. Really just more than what I even expected it to be, and I really liked working with Councilor Duran on that, and I'm glad that we were able to raise money for our memorial. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On Friday, the 23rd, I had it was an absolute privilege to be invited to participate in an event with the Marion County Sheriff's SWAT team, where we did some shooting. We cleared a house, and what they do when they do their thing, and then just had some fun trying to open the doors like they do when they break it down. I got it done in the first try, so that was pretty awesome. It was fun. Little competitive edge there. That evening, I had attended the retirement party for Keizer Fire District Chief Blanco, 44 years. So that was fun, and Councilor Duran and Kohler also attended. The 27th, we had a blast camp meeting here with the Keizer, in the Keizer Police Department. Mark your calendars, July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Blast camp is back right here in the Keizer Civic Center. And so a perfect use. July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. It's a perfect use of this facility to bring in our youth from our community. And then that night, again, the town hall. So I appreciated everybody who came out and asked questions and listened. It was a great opportunity for us to learn as a council and listen. Then we had continued meetings on the 28th for the EO and Keizer Sister City partnership that we're working on. And then I am a little bit poor after the May 31st Gold Star event. Thank you to Councilor Duran for bidding that up.
Councilor Star bought a star.
And thank you, Mayor Clark, for making sure there were 2 of them to go around. So it was
Happy to
great.
share.
Always a giver.
Yep, always a giver. So thank
Well,
you.
want to give a shout out to the artist behind those. The artist is the star guy from Dallas. He is a gold star father himself. And creating these stars are a way for him to honor his son's memory and to support other Gold Star families. So thank you for not only purchasing the stars, but also helping commemorate the very important symbolism and space of healing that this Gold Star Family Memorial is. So appreciate that.
Happy to do it.
Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am so sad that I missed that. I was at Uncorked Revelry last Friday and Uncorked the live auction, but I was happy to wrangle up some auction items because I was voluntold by Councilor Christopher and Councilor Duran. I think that I just really want to take a moment to just to give our love and prayers to the city of Salem and that stabbing tragedy over at Union Gospel Mission, and that we keep our first responders and that wonderful nonprofit in our prayers. That's it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that reminder. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's been a busy couple of weeks. There's no question about that. Besides all the other things that have already been talked about, I attended the Traffic Safety Bike Ped Committee, part of the Traffic Safety Bike Ped Committee meeting with Councilor Starr. And I'm very proud of Officer Powell and his willingness to work and educate to solve problems. I was very impressed with his ability to say, well, I'm willing to do this, let's make it work. And he didn't have to do that, and I was just impressed with his willingness to go the extra mile. I attended part of the Planning Commission meeting also, which was pretty interesting, talking about things that I didn't know that we wanted to talk about. But a lot of people came and talked about their feelings. I like that. I attended part of the shareholders meeting about the revision of the Parks Master Plan. I thought it was good that we had our Parks Board chair there. And then I also met with a bunch of Cub Scouts telling them what happens in this building and what that's all about, what I expect of them in the future. I attended Soggy Day in the Park. A special thank you to all those that came out and to all the vendors that came to make it a free special event. I attended the Keizer Community Dinner. Thank you to the Rotary for coming and helping with the baked potatoes and putting that all together. And lastly, I was very fortunate, able to attend the Air Force Junior ROTC awards ceremony. That was unreal. It was great. It was amazing. They treated me with utmost respect, and I got to hand out all the awards, which is really neat. And I got a coin. So
That's
cool.
very cool.
It was very impressed with them, and I told them they just need to hold their event here next year. And they said, we can do that? Yep, consider it done. Let's get the paperwork.
Sounds like a good plan. Thank you very much. Councilor Parsons.
Thank you. I'm so sorry that I missed all of that because I was, in Italy, just tasting all the food.
Yeah, we're sorry. We're sorry.
So I'm very sorry about that. But the bad thing was when I came home, then I got sick. I got the norovirus, so then I was in bed for 3 days. So I don't know which is better, missing all that stuff. But we got something coming up. I'll show it here. We're going to put it on the city website. Paint party, June 21st, the big toy. Okay, we're going through it right now and getting everything we need and all the supplies, but we need people. So please, you can contact me. My email address, which is parsonsm@keizeror.org.
.gov.
Oh, dang it. I knew it. Okay, .gov. Sorry. I knew I was gonna mess it up. But
Or they
anyway,
can find it linked on your website,
Yeah.
or on the city website.
there you go. Just email me and let me know if you'd like to do this. You have to know this is weather permitting.
So it's a Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, we're gonna close the park for 2 days, hoping we can get it done in one. Then we don't have to do that, but we will have a sign up so people know that it will be closed for those days for maintenance. The big toy. The big toy. No, not the whole park. No, the big toy, only the big toy. Okay, and that's it, sorry.
Not sorry. All right. Just a couple things to add. I was able to attend the SEDCOR board meeting, which is the Strategic Economic Development Corporation. They were presenting on upcoming economic development projects here in our 3-county region. And we were introduced to a business that is expanding into Salem called Dreamy's Creamery. If you haven't had their ice cream and some of their other products, it's made from sheep milk. And it doesn't have some of the unfortunate impacts that cow milk does on some people's response to lactose. And they made a fan out of absolutely everybody in the room by bringing samples. Their caramel was out of this world. So they're coming to the Forge in Salem to expand.
Oh, Macy's?
No, the old Liberty Street, Liberty Plaza. Yes, they'll be, right, yes. Okay, anyway, I was invited to speak to the Mid-Willamette Valley Association of Realtors at their membership meeting, along with Mayors Hoy and Larnigan, talking about developments happening in our 3 cities, what's happening in terms of residential, construction, regulations, et cetera, et cetera. So I really appreciated that opportunity to meet with that organization. I attended the Turnaround Awards Luncheon on the 22nd. Huge thank you to the Rec and Valor Mentoring for continuing this tradition, which is now the 29th annual. Can you believe that? That this has been going on. Huge shout out to Levy Guerrero, who was recognized for Claggett Creek Middle School, Julian Eslava, who was the honoree from McNary High School, and Viseth Korm from Whitaker Middle School. Congratulations to these fine students who were recognized by their teachers, peers, and families for what they've done in terms of turning around their both their academic and personal lives. Well done. Also want to say a big thank you on Soggy Day. That was fantastic. Really enjoyed that. And then I beelined it from there, along with Miss Polk County, to help hand out the scholarships at Distinguished Young Women. And Hallie Wofford was the winner of that competition, and she will represent Keizer in the statewide competition later this year. The program was outstanding. All of the contestants brought so much to the table, along with the Little Sisters. And I'm delighted that it is the young women who have benefited from this program are now keeping it going. And isn't that the Keizer way, or what? It was over at Church on the Hill. So class of 2026, Distinguished Young Women. So watch for that on Facebook and how Hallie does in the statewide competition. I also attended the Crystal Apple Awards, and I'd like to give a shout out to our Keizer nominees, Cami Brack, Rochelle Breaker, Brian Hunter, Rebecca Kroon, Whitney Winter, Peter Runquist, Melissa Miller, and an Crystal Apple Award recipient from McNary High School, Jamie Murphy. 101 nominees this year. I don't know how they picked. I don't know. Every single story that they told of these teachers and staff members was compelling. And there was nobody going, gee, I wonder where the time's going. I could have sat there and listened to those wonderful inspirational stories all night. Last but not least, Mr. Lawyer, you didn't remind everybody this arrived in everybody's mailbox.
Is it water report?
This is our annual water quality report for 2024. So all of you who have water accounts, you should have received this in your mailbox. It's great reading. If you have any questions, of course, get them to the city, but it tells you about the great system of clean water that we enjoy here in Keizer. Coming up, a lot of work on wrapping up the legislative session and seeing where things end up. Right now, it is that last few weeks before the legislature adjourns, so it's on 24-hour or 48-hour, something like that, notice for public hearings. And everybody hang on tight, pay really close attention, as some bills that, some of them have good ideas and some of them are going to be, if we think our planning commission's been dealing with stuff, just wait till see what's coming down the pipe. So we'll see what makes it through. That is all I've got. All right. Agenda input. Monday, June 9th, that is a week from tonight, meet at 6 p.m. at a work session with the Community Diversity Engagement Committee. This is as requested earlier this year. On Monday, June 16th, we will convene in regular session at 6 p.m. And then Monday, July 7th, we will also convene at 6 p.m. in regular session. That is all I have for tonight. The time is 9 o'clock on the dot. We are adjourned.